I'm Steve Russell. I'm a native of Del City, five-generation Oklahoman. I served 21 years in the United States Army. I own a small rifle business, and I served a term in the state Senate.
Hello, I'm Al McCaffrey. I was born in Sulphur, Oklahoma, and I'm a son of a Baptist minister, a member of the Choctaw tribe, a father, and a grandfather. I've served in the Oklahoma legislature since 2007, first as a member of the Oklahoma House of Representatives and now as a state senator. I received the Legislative Achievement Award from the AARP in 2013, and now I am running for Congress in the 5th District.
How would you protect Social Security for today's seniors and strengthen it for future generations?
When the Social Security system was set up, it was designed to care for those that in later years of their life they would have enough so that they could get by and survive. I think one of the key things that we must remember is that that should still be the main purpose of our Social Security system. Those that have paid into it faithfully ought to have a priority. I'm very concerned about the abuses in the disability sector. Most studies think that the disability portion of Social Security could be exhausted in as little as 2 years. We have to audit and look at those that have the greatest need should have the highest priority. We shouldn't have someone drawing a disability check on Friday and on a jet ski on Saturday.
Myself and many of you have spent our lives working under the premises of a safe and secure retirement. Social Security is not an entitlement, but something that has been earned, and I will protect Social Security and fight any and all efforts to privatize it. Social Security benefits should be keeping up with inflation and be guaranteed for as long as the beneficiary lives. But we need to strengthen Social Security and make sure it's around for future generations. And not just for our seniors, but for those who often need it, like the disabled or spouses working just to get by because they've lost their loved one. Bottom line is that you have earned Social Security and you should be able to depend on it.
How would you put Medicare on stronger financial ground and protect today's seniors and future retirees from rising health costs?
Nearly 50 million older Americans and Americans with disability rely on Medicare each year. The truth is the Affordable Care Act, while far from perfect, made Medicare stronger by adding new benefits and improving care, but also fighting fraud and cutting costs. We recovered a record-breaking $4.3 billion of taxpayers' money in 2013, and we have recovered over $16 billion in the last 4 years. That's a good start, but we should continue doing more. Unfortunately, just fixing these problems won't be enough to put Medicare on the type of solid ground each American who needs Medicare deserves. We have to continue to look for and eliminate waste in our programs while improving the quality of care itself. By focusing on and eliminating waste, crack down on fraud and abuse, expanding preventive care, and emphasizing patient and their families, we can strengthen and protect Medicare.
Part of the reason we have such rising health costs, I believe, is that when there is a reimbursed benefit program, you see that a lot of abuses will follow. I think one of the most important things as we protect Medicare is that we try to ensure that those that have the greatest priority are getting the best benefit. We can't have an insolvent system where people pay into it for years and then later it's not there when they need it. The reimbursement program, it does need a careful look. We see insurers and others that are charging exorbitant prices for services. This is not fair to seniors. It's not fair to taxpayers. And we have to have an audit of that system to make sure that Medicare can actually go to physician care directly and it will be able to pay the bills.
How would you help Americans save so they can secure their future and live independently as they age?
I believe one of the chief functions of government is to care for the widow, care for orphans, care for those in greatest need. As we see an aging population, I think that those that have contributed the most, it ought to be available to them. One of the problems that we have is that what people have put in, they have no control over. And we see waste and fraud and depleted coffers in these systems that were designed for their care. One of the things I think to put on the table is like you see in the employment sector where people have maybe a debate about defined benefit plans versus contributed plans. I think we ought to have discussions that the money that's taken out for Social Security and Medicare, perhaps those things ought to be considered as contributions where they're protected by the individual. All of these things we have to look at. And then at the end of the day, we always can use audits so that we make sure that those that are in the greatest need actually get the care.
I believe every American that works hard and plays by the rules ought to have a dignified retirement, while Social Security must remain solid, guaranteed benefits that every American can rely on and should be part of the plan along with their savings and pension. Too many Americans lack access to workplace retirement saving plans, usually the most effective means of saving for retirement. Unfortunately, women are actually the majority of seniors living below the poverty line and less likely to be prepared for retirement than men. That's wrong. We need to fix that. We should make it easier for families to keep their loved ones in their home. We should be proud of our seniors and that still work and realize that many of our seniors still work, frankly, because they have to. It's been an honor to serve the people of Oklahoma in our state capital, and it will be a great honor to serve you as a congressman in the 5th District of Oklahoma, where I truly believe it is my duty to serve all the people of Oklahoma. This is a do-nothing Congress. In fact, the Congress that President Truman famously referred to as a do-nothing Congress passed about 9 times as many bills as the present one. We have to break the gridlock and start putting people before politics. I have a history of putting families ahead of politics, and I will be honored to continue to do so as your next congressman from the 5th District.
I had the privilege growing up of knowing 6 of my great-grandparents. One of the most influential people in my life was one of my great-grandfathers who was a World War I veteran. I was taught to have respect. I think it's important that as we, as Americans, look at our aging community, that we do respect, and that we don't just turn to the government for every problem, that we also look at faith-based options and community options. And we have to guard and safeguard those tax dollars that were put in for care. And we need leaders in Washington that will stand on those issues.